I think they're both similar a little bit in what they want to do, in that the goalies really want to enable the forwards. But I think early on, I'm probably going to like the side of Hungry Like Nephew a little bit more because Vaughn's going to be able to push up, get the speed gates, get the offense some assistance like he is trying to do right now. As you already lose, taking a lot of damage, but they're able to get that first barrier in the corner and try to control Dropleto. This era pick, I think, we've seen it all day be pretty strong, both in the goalie role and a little bit in the midfield. But I think Dropleto being on the Zen, that's one of the picks that gets affected the least by being shrunk. So it means that I think he'll have the tools to deal with, even if you already lose, able to get some cooldowns, shrink him all the time. He'll be able to survive, but we see right there a KO coming out early and all the speed from that Vice ultimate getting the core into the corner. Dropleto trying to find it, but Vaughn able to save.
Yeah, those slimes doing work. Bell's doing work, but doesn't have the strike in time to save the shot by Streak. The name off Vice getting credit for the goal. 1-0 in the favor of the Bozo Bunch here.
Yeah, and we see a lot of back and forth there. I think both teams kind of running the offense that they want to at different times, but we'll see who can have more control as Vaughn just no tools to get down, save that first barrier, the jump leaving the slime, and just really strong piloting of this pick. You know, Vaughn hasn't been in that role for long, but has been on the Juno for a long time. He clearly knows how to operate as he pushes ahead, not finding any value out of these NATOs quite yet, but we'll see if he can, as Vaughn, you see, just consistently able to push up and try to get the core to Bells.
And Bells is staying up, looking for these strike war wins, and that beam from Yuri Lose, a bit of a timing mix-up against ObscureBreads. And speaking of, right, no Merchant, it's Breads here, as the former Bozo Bunch goalie. But a slime by Vaughn across, mixes up the angle once again, mixes up the timing, and sends it right in the goal to even it up in the first set.
Yeah, the NATO may be serving as a little bit of a distraction right there, as it was coming through the goal, and it's the slime that ends up getting it. And Hungry Like Nephew, like you said, going into this game, they've just looked so strong all season, and I think they're looking really strong early in this game. I think they have a lot of scaling potential. Both teams do really, with, you know, an era, or with an X rather, and a now on each side. The Juno as well can do a lot of scaling Zen. I think both teams have the opportunity to get really strong builds, but early on, it's all Hungry Like Nephew.
Oh, but Bells goes down. ObscureBreads, perfect survival with the now secondary and the lifeline as well. And strike wars by Streak across the map. That's one barrier taken at the very least as the respawn comes in. Vaughn does have a flip, but needs to be careful because Drop is looking for that final barrier and maybe for a cheeky KO, but Bells is the one who gets it done on the other side. And, well, that's a little awkward. ObscureBreads walks up a little bit too quickly at the wall, and Bells will capitalize to make it a pretty big lead for Hungry Like Nephew.
Yeah, that spec training putting in work right there, you know, showing how strong that pick can be, and the fact that they have it so early on, you know, no scaling necessary. That one just right in the starting awakenings. And yeah, like you talked about in this draft, it's super interesting seeing Bells on the X, Dropleto on the Zen. And so far the awakenings, you know, that glass cannon for Dropleto, I think against an Era and a Juno who can just have so many hits onto you, not really giving any value, whereas the spec training is. So we'll see if that means that maybe the Zen is the one that really needs to scale in this game, because early on it looks that way. Dropleto is looking for a KO on Vaughn, barely doesn't find it, but on the other side, Bells is able to get the goal open.
And not just get the goal open, but get the strike reset for the goal. Doesn't even need the flip, just holds on to it as the set concludes. Amazing evasion by Vaughn, and Bells with the follow-up. Make sure that Hungry Like Nephew are on top in this first set. And bulk up has landed. That is multiplicative scaling here coming in for the X.
Yeah, that's going to be a really scary build, and one that can build even more. If Reptile Remedy shows up, that could be more stagger to do the same. Era getting prime time as well is going to be really strong. We'll see what they pick over here, but just those first two picks on your forward duo are going to give you a lot of potential. The fight or flight for Dropleto is going to help him set himself up for some more plays. That speed is important, although I think the awakening sometimes is a little bit better in the midfield. The twin drive for ObscureBreads is going to give just more cooldowns that help set up offense and defense, so I don't think it's a terrible draft for Bozo Bunch, but prime time and bulk up on your X is going to be really difficult for Bozo Bunch to try to deal with here.
Yeah, they do have one big win condition in the Vice, right? They do have that special very powered up. But right now, they got to worry about their health bars dropping. Breads under attack. Bell's going in. The bewitching beam from Yuri Lose. And these barriers are dropping so rapidly here. A great save by Breads, but taken out. Not even a necessary flip, but you know, might as well. Hungry Like Nephew keeping the train rolling right now.
I was also thinking exactly, not a necessary flip, but, you know, they just wanted to make sure. And they just have all the momentum in the world here. A lot of KOs found in these last few points. The spec training just such a threat at all times. And I think you already lose with that prime time. It has such an easy job of controlling the midfield here, making sure that Bells is set up with Vaughn jumping in as well. And, you know, I think they're really going to have to switch up the offense that they're playing to try to not let life be so easy for Vaughn, because it seems like he's just at the midfield line, pushing ahead, taking the speed gates all the time here.
He's also using the secondary quite well. He's using both the jump and the follow-up slime to make it more difficult for the offense of the Bozo Bunch to even get started here. Dropleto with a lot of meter, but the health bar is looking as low as ever. The one weakness of the Zentaro is that lack of stagger after all, and Bell's looking for a flick to the top side, not quite, but Drop is perma shrunk, perma damaged, can't really do anything here. Tries to get in on the play to specialized training. Supernova comes out as well, but it just feels like so little. Yuri Luz and Bells are so consistent in keeping the core forward.
Yeah, and it just feels like Dropleto can never get the core. He has Fighter Flight and he has Mag Souls, so really like Mag Souls and Slicks in a way, and it still feels like he's just not able to control the core as much as he wants to. He was able to get the barrier there off the flip once again, but you already lose, you know, shrinking him down, and now Bells with that specialized training, finding the KO as well, pushing in, trying to score. There's a flip on each side here, so we'll see who uses it first, as Vice with the ultimate is able to force that out of him, but still just nothing able to be returned so far by Bozo Bunch. No pressure really put on Vaughn.
Yeah, and Bell's taken low, but not taken out. Importantly, a few missed abilities by the Bozo Bunch. Drop with a chance to score, but another slime by Vaughn, perfectly played, and now the core speed in overtime is getting insane. Bells in position with the dribbles, not quite enough, and Drop trying to return to favor, but Vaughn is so fast. Finally, Bells goes down, but the Bozo Bunch, they still got to be careful. Vaughn has so many ways to defend here, but finally punishing the dribble is Dropleto. The slice and dice is enough, but it's only going to tie the set up.
And that's the win condition you talked about, that specialized training and extra special for Streak there, whose name off right here, was able to find a huge KO there to convert the power play. So we'll see if he can continue to try to punish some of those mistakes, but there's really not a lot of them that are coming out from Hungry Like Nephew. Bells at the start of the point taking a little bit of damage there, but it's just all right back, and that bulk up as well means it's really hard to find the stagger kills. Really, he has to catch them on the edge, and Hungry Like Nephew are just such experienced, smart players that they're not going to let that happen, it seems like.
Good individual play by Dropleto in the midfield, but again, right, Yuri Luz just drops back to help defend. Finally, a barrier take here, but the Bozo Bunch have to work for every last inch, every tiny advantage here, and of course Yuri Luz and Bells, they're so consistent with it. Dropleto brought low, no meter available, could be the target of the next KO. Same could be said about Bells, but he at least has that evade available, and you got to watch out because he has that explosive damage potential.
The NATO setting up Bells well here, going to force out the flip, and the flip is a little bit too late, so Breads is not able to keep the goal open. Vaughn pushing all the way in, but does miss a strike, and it is just going to get to the end. Bells goes down as well, so we'll see if Vaughn and You Already Lose have a miracle defense in them here as they try to set Streak up. The pass down, double flip, so all the energy is out, but still nothing found yet. Bells spawning back, but Dropleto with a perfect strike just in time to the top of the goal. And as much momentum as Hungry Like Nephew had, Bozo Bunch just 1 point away from tying it up here.
Yeah, the Bozo Bunch maybe have a chance meter low on absolutely everybody except for Dropleto. The flips seeming so far away, but I feel like the flips are far away. Bells is the scariest player on the field. Low evades on absolutely everybody. And Bells is just walking in, knowing that the X Maximus strike reset could be the difference maker here.
And we'll see if Streak, while they're starting to get the energy and they have evades now, he goes for the ultimate right there, but not able to find too much value, and You Already Lose making good use of the evade as well as the strikes. Is a great defense from Vaughn and You Already Lose there, just completely connected there. And as much as Dropleto tries to put the pressure on, it's now him being pressured with Bells using a lot of abilities, putting a lot of damage on here, but finally he's able to get the core, use the flip, but not quite finding anything.
Yeah, and the Make It Rain is perfect from Vaughn. Clogs up the entire flip play coming out of Dropleto. And now it is an awkward spot for the Bozo Bunch to be in. Once again, drop low on meter, but finds the play around Vaughn. Finds the dribble to the bottom side. ObscureBreads maintaining possession. Streak on the top side, ready, but not quite ready enough here. Trying to set up for the drop, but he's not long for this world. X Maximus on top of him, but drops a little bit faster. Wait a second, the Bozo Bunch brawler stays alive, and Bread still has flip on the defense. It gets set backwards, and maybe the Bozo Bunch have a chance in this set.
They have a lot of energy here. A streak gets close to a flip. Breads has one as well. Bells there almost found the right timing, but it ended up being the NATO that blocked it. So nothing found the energy used. Breads has the flip, but probably going to have to keep it for defense. But we'll see if they're able to get the core to Dropleto, who it feels like is just shrunk all the time. So it's so hard for those passes to get through. Finally has the core now, trying to make use of that fight or flight. But with the size differential, they're just able to get it around him so consistently.
That's the jump used by Vaughn. That's a big cooldown gone, but it's going to come up before too long. And the core speed, once again, a problem. Dropleto goes in, but the flip from Vaughn. Wait a second, streak with the core stop. Big opportunity for the Bozo Bunch if Drop can find a strike here to the top side, but Vaughn gets there in time. Really close to Streak getting KO'd, but it's Bells with a follow-up X Maximus strike, and now a flip available for Dropleto. An awkward spot, an awkward angle, not quite enough, in position, not quite still, and Bells will rocket it forward with the bell ringer. 2-2 now in this set, and Hungry Like Nephew looking to continue their dominance.
Yeah, it felt like everything hinged on that, but we still have a 5th point here with everyone level 7 and level 8 in this second set. A lot of chances for Bozo Bunch, but the defense from Hungry Like Nephew has just been so strong all game. Even when Bozo Bunch has scored, it just feels like they have to get so many opportunities and play them so perfectly. As Bells pushes in here, the strike's not quite able to be found, just too much layered. As Vaughn is pushing up on the offense, the core stop almost working against them, but Strike Wars are won. The core is shrunk down, but the specialized training gets 2 KOs, much like the last set. And Bells is able to take that second set home for Hungry Like Nephew.
That's big as well. Vaughn now the one with the first pick. Plenty of scary awakenings that could be on the board. Monumental is going to be denied away from the now. And although Bozo Bunch gets the consolation prize of the losing team double pick here, 2 and 3, it is still such a rough game. Of course, the Zentaro will be unlocked with that Super Surge pickup, but it is still not looking too good.
Yeah, not looking great. It has really felt like Dropleto has struggled to get the core, so maybe that dash range will help the consistency just a little bit more. And I don't think it's any kind of crazy draft out of Hungry Like Nephew, so there is some solace, but I don't think either team outside of that Super Surge really got anything that's changing too much about the way the game is being played. I think Hungry Like Nephew, if they keep doing what they've been doing, are going to be in really good position to close this out, but we'll see what happens. Bell's here now, just on base at 176 power. So along with that specialized training, that's going to be a lot of pressure as Bells looks to get both barriers here and find a KO on the Vice.
On to 2 people at once. Dropleto and Streak both going down really low. ObscureBreads walking up to the midfield line, and Bell so low, not taken out. Still has the elusive and heals right back up from the orb. Dangerous defense for ObscureBreads here, but they do combo Bells off the map. A 10-second power play could be what the Bozo Bunch need to turn this game around. But around and around the core goes, and it's hard to find some offense when Vaughn is playing on point on the defense. You already lose with the flip available. Still Dropleto on death's door. ObscureBreads got to watch out as well. The healing comes through, but that's all the cooldowns burned. And the Bozo Bunch once again forced into their own half.
And Dropleto uses the flip trying to find a KO on You Already Lose, but not able to do it. Although he is going to take a lot of damage, and it's going to push him just out of the way for Dropleto to put it in the top side. The slime just went a little bit too far, so the first point is found for Bozo Bunch. I noticed on that power play there, the glass cannon and aerials for You Already Lose was able to give him so much speed to just neutralize the advantage that Bozo Bunch had. I think that era can do such a good job at neutralizing the power plays. So it feels like, you know, maybe like in that last point, they need to focus the damage on him here. And right there, they do force out a flip just to get away from that Vice ultimate.
Gotta be careful though. Bells is working on a flip here. Dropleto gets past, but not quite enough. Even if the core gets past, Vaughn has a jump back. Well played by the goalie of Hungry Like Nephew. A lot of meter being built up by a Dropleto and Streak, but they gotta be careful. Bells is there to the dash punch. comes through, and Hungry Like Nephew are dominating here with all of the power on Bells, getting the KO with every slight slip up from the Bozo Bunch. Dropleto forced into goal box, defending perfectly. Wait a second, what was that? Dropleto has the flip as well, gets it out of there, gets a barrier. Dropleto, the best goalie in this game so far, maybe. What a point.
Maybe the best Zen goalie in the league as well. And right there is able to find the goal as well. Turns the defense into offense. And what an advantage it was for Hungry Like Nephew. But Dropleto with the hero defense is able to turn that around. And it's 2-0 Bozo Bunch in this set.
Maybe this brawler's okay in the net. And of course, don't show this to Soren's teammates, because that's what could have been in their game. But we'll see if the Bozo Bunch can survive in this one here, because it's still Night Market, it's still Bells with 1,000,000 power, and it's still a Hungry Like Nephew that should be favorites.
Yeah, and Bells just with all that speed pushing up, the era speeding him up as well, and just so much pressure, finds the KO with all that power into the goal, and is able to win the strike war against Streak as well. So as much momentum as Bozo Bunch has, that X build is still just so powerful, and he's able to set himself up perfectly for an easy goal. Just so many KOs are being found on the goal line, whether it be with the X Maximus, with the Bell Ringer. It's just a lot of pressure on Breads here on defense every single time.
Oh, and Streak doesn't quite get the release to take the barrier here. The Bozo Bunch now in trouble. Hungry Like Nephew surging. Despite you already lose being low, they don't have a reliable KO at this stage of the game here. Meanwhile, on the other end, it's Streak almost going down, still staggered, despite the lifeline healing. And there's a good strike from Bells to the bottom corner. And despite the heroics, despite the 2-0 lead, it's still looking like a Hungry Like Nephew favor in this 5th point.
There's a great pass from Vaughn off the slime and an even better strike to the bottom for Bells. Just perfect execution with not much of a window to score there. And as Bells pushes up, it just feels like the same story of the team being able to focus all their resources on offense, set Bells up perfectly. And a lot of pressure being put here, but Dropleto with the flip going wide just means it's going to be so difficult for Bozo Bunch to find this last barrier.
Yeah, and Drop's doing chip damage, but it feels like he's only tickling the Hungry Like Nephew team. You already lose the lowest, but still not taken out despite the entire kits being dumped. And now Bells has the flip available, but the barrier goes down. A huge opening for the Bozo Bunch. A slight mistake by Hungry Like Nephew perhaps, but Bells with the flip doesn't take out Dropleto, and still an opening for Bozo here if they can get it past. But Vaughn stable as ever. There's the Supernova, but not really getting anything meaningful there as the barrier falls on the other end. And Dropleto, good evade. Still a dangerous spot.
Really difficult evade to find there, but he's able to live, which puts a lot more pressure on You Already Lose, a lot more pressure on Hungry Like Nephew, as he's really looking for this kill, putting all of his cooldowns into it. Streak is able to save it with the secondary there, and now pushing ahead. A great strike war win to Dropleto, who puts it into the bottom. So Bozo Bunch keep this game alive. It was a hard-fought set, but they're able to get it and get into another draft.
I didn't expect that. I thought Bells would just X Maximus, 3,000,000 power, get it done, but instead we're here at another draft. But this is still not a good situation for Bozo. I think this draft is a really bad situation for Bozo. Looking at the Awakenings, there's just too many options available. The hotshot for the Juno, the Mighty Colossus, or the 1-2 punch for the X. The hotshot ends up being denied, but in the end, it still feels pretty bad.
Yeah, nothing too great. I mean, the only person on Hungry Like Nephew who was really denied was You Already Lose, having to settle for that Might of the Colossus. Vaughn able to get a second spark. Bell's able to get 1-2 punch. And the fact that Dropleto, who's really, what you're putting a lot of eggs in that basket of the Zentaro scaling, has to deny the hot shot away. So feels like even more of an uphill battle, perhaps, for Bozo Bunch, but they've done it before. They had some heroics in the last set, and we'll see if we can do it again, as ObscureBreads makes a great save against the Bell Ringer of Bells there.
Yeah, but the health bar is looking low once again for a drop. The flip is good, one barrier taken, and Bozo are slowly working their way back into this one, but all it takes is one slip up and Bells will start just exploding these fools. Dropleto though with the strike war. Wait a second, it's a brawler that's striking, but Bells with the Bell Ringer. There's a reason he's called Bells, and right now he's just dribbling, looking for the strike reset for the goal. Doesn't even need it. It's just a simple strike as the respawn comes in from the recovery drone. And Hungry Like Nephew 2 away.
Yeah, and when the arrow beam is on Bells, has something like 200 power, so ObscureBreads could try to time that bell ringer all he wanted, but the core was just simply too fast. There was no way it was going to happen, as Dropleto early on in this point taking a lot of damage, but as they go to chase him, it means that the Vice ult is able to be sent onto them. Bell's taking a lot of damage, but I'm not sure with that bulk up extra stagger that they're going to be able to find the KO here, and they're just able to put that damage right back. It just feels like in core control and damage, Bozo Bunch doesn't really have the advantage in either.
Yeah, it feels like they're falling behind even more. You already lose as well. Wait a second, hit stun from Dropleto. Dribble to the top side. The Bozo Bunch, they don't have the control. They don't have as much damage, it feels like, but they have the moments. And with the Supernova to the top side, they will secure a goal, and they keep themselves in the running here.
Yeah, just a perfect pass by Streak was found to Dropleto there, who had a beautiful hit stun. And then the perfect angle as well. It feels like it has to be true perfection in the plays from Bozo Bunch to find these points, but they're managing to do it enough to stay alive in this game as Dropleto looks for a KO on You Already Lose, not quite finding it yet, and has to use a lot of cooldowns as the Maelstrom sets up the offense. Vaughn pushing ahead, looking like the old rules ahead of You Already Lose, but each team is able to keep one set up for now, and we'll see what this next Vice ultimate is able to do, how much pressure it's being able to put on. But Dropleto is somehow just finding these barriers barely, wins another strike war as well to force out the flip, and we'll see if he can set up an offense as 2 flips on the side of Bozo Bunch are available and a KO is found.
This Dropleto guy's doing everything. The hit stun at the very end, winning strike wars against Vaughn. And now we're suddenly at a set point for the Bozo Bunch. They have all the meter in the world, and there's none on the side of Hungry Like Nephew. This is Bozo Bunch's chance to turn this all around and maybe get a draft in their favor, but you gotta watch out for Bells.
Oh no, and you gotta watch out for your own Vice ultimate. Unfortunately, finding the barrier there, although a lot of damage is being pushed. Dropleto finding the KO on Bells. Has those cooldowns to try to find You Already Lose as well, who's going to have to drop back. Vaughn pushing ahead to try to stall out this power play, and a lot of abilities coming down, but so far it's a great job of stalling by Hungry Like Nephew, and Bells is able to spawn again.
Respawn once again on the top side. No meter available, but Dropleto is shrunk. In position, though, for another strike war win versus Vaughn. This is not how Brawler versus Goalie usually goes here. As Bells gets hit stunned away, Drops looking for a chance, looking for an opportunity with this flip, but taken so incredibly low. Hit stun taken out by the arrow beam of all things. Can Streak be the hero with this flip is the question here. You got to make something happen before Hungry Like Nephew can get back in position. The respawn comes in, 1 second left. Bells rushing forward, but Dropleto is back, and Streak still has that flip available. You got to watch out for the overtime slimes, but I think that they might have secured a little bit of insurance here, but again, Bells is just getting in there over and over.
Getting in there, but also taking a lot of damage as he does it. Almost KO'd once again, and what a strike by Breads against the primary from Era there. Is able to keep it alive. They find the KO, and they force the flip out of You Already Lose. Vaughn has a flip still. Gonna try to push up, be aggressive with this, and put the pressure on Breads not being able to step up because of the threat of that flip. So far, able to stall it out and not able to get the core to Dropleto in a scoring position. A lot of stalling done by Vaughn there is able to get us back in a position where it's even, and Bells makes it not even so quickly.
Oh, dangerous spot for ObscureBreads. Gets it out of there. Now to Supernova to dribble from Streak. Looking for a shot, but not quite enough. The core stop, the strike war win, the stall out, and Dropleto's back. The jump is burned. The best chance the Bozo Bunch have had in this entire point. It feels like a great save by Breads with the secondary. Dropleto looking for a dribble to the bottom side, but Vaughn has cooldowns back. It's going to be so hard to score, and this time Vaughn does win the strike war. Breads sending it around the world now, and Bell's looking for maybe a cheeky KO, maybe something to turn the tide once again. As Drop chases Shrunk once more. Such a difficult spot to be in for both the Brawlers as the core goes flying past them, looking for something, but a rare error from Vaughn. The core goes right past him, and the Bozo Bunch got exactly the break they needed.
Dropleto in that set, he had the hype moments and he has the aura right at the end to make Vaughn somehow, that jump just doesn't quite catch the slime. And so we're going to a set 5 after all of that. What a crazy set we had. We'll see what Dropleto is able to get here, what he goes for. I think leaving that heavy impact for potentially the Now or the Vice, but it'd be a really strong pickup on Era if it's picked up. Taking the Reptile Remedy means he's going to be able to be out there more, try to get more opportunities with those Strike Wards. The Era does end up taking the heavy impact, so it's going to be Adrenaline Rush on the Vice instead. Not a lot found. I mean, that Prize Fighter on Bells is going to be very scary if they let it snowball, but they've been able to find enough return KOs that I don't think it'll be a problem unless Bells does something like finding 2 KOs right at the start of a point, and he almost does find 1 right there, but not quite.
Yeah, ObscureBreads forced to fly away with the lifeline. 2 barriers down already. And Bells chasing, looking for the stacks on this prize fighter. The win condition for Hungry Like Nephew, and Bells with a shot right in the middle. Perfectly placed. Hug once again with the lead here. We'll see if they can hold on.
Yeah, beautiful passing plays found amidst the chaos of the Vice secondary. All those abilities flying through, and it's just the simple pass up to Bells that's able to find it. We'll see what he can do, as every single time that X Maximus and the specialized training with this now 200 power is such a threat, and it's able to get both barriers down early on as they rotate the core around, try to find some kind of offense for Dropleto, who's having to do it all himself here. Doesn't quite find a KO, but they do get 1 barrier, and we'll see what Dropleto can do as they finally have a consistent offense here in this set.
Yeah, the Breads through. The Slime's scary, but they get it around here. The Timeless Creator making them a little bit larger. The bounces making them a little bit scarier for Hungry Like Nephew. The flips available for Streak and Drop. Can they move the core forward is the question, though. There's so many Slimes, and Yuri loses always there to follow up afterwards as Bells goes in for some positioning, for the Strike Wars, for the rebounds. A flip forced out of Breads, and Vaughn walking all the way forward, but it'll be Bells with a shot to the bottom corner. And now Hungry Like Nephew just 1 goal away.
Both points just so perfectly set up. The Maelstrom into the bottom corner meant that Breads and Streak both had to walk up, and then Bells knew to strike it right there. Just beautiful execution. And as much as we've seen the heroics from Bozo Bunch, we're going to need even more here, as both barriers are open early on, and they're going to have to fight back from quite a deficit here.
Yeah, just lack of control, it feels like. Dropleto trying to get in position to find a goal, but it's so difficult. A good strike war by Streak, but Vaughn's approaching. Bells approaching top side. ObscureBreads almost a save, but it'll be Bells once more. And Hungry Like Nephew will secure this first game.
Yeah, Vaughn in that whole last set, it felt like was on the offense, looking like a midfielder the entire time, just really making use of all that speed that he was able to pick up with the 2 sparks, with the agility, the glass cannon, and the momentum boots as well. Was able to do so much on the offense. As you look at the redirects, I don't think on Night Market you ever see a spread quite like that, like you see on Hungry Like Nephew here, of Vaughn with 321, 7 assists, even more assists than his midfielder, just doing it all there. And as much as we saw Dropleto and Bozo Bunch try to claw back, they were able to get it to a 5th set. It seems like the scaling just didn't quite come for them, and Hungry Like Nephew just consistently played, their game and to a T.
Yeah, he really just controlled the entire map. He was walking up so much as well. There were some flubs in the 4th set, but after he locked in, it was lights out. That final set, masterclass by Hungry Like Nephew. And Bozo Bunch, they got to go back to the drawing board perhaps for the next game, because it kind of felt like on the offense, Dropleto was 1v9, and on the defense, Breads was 1v9 as well. It's difficult. The Vice provided a lot of damage, but it just felt like possession was always in Hungry Like Nephew's side.
Yeah, way more damage for the side of Bozo Bunch, and that Vice leading the charge in that damage, but just still so many more KOs able to be found by Hungry Like Nephew. I think in the draft, the fact that they had that spec training from the very start was just so much pressure. We saw in those first couple sets, the first 2 being able to be closed out by the KOs on the goal line by Bells. So yeah, we'll see in the next draft what they're able to do differently as far as if the brawler switches up. We're going to be on Demon Deus, I believe, which is a very comfortable map for Hungry Like Nephew. And I know Vaughn in particular just has so many picks that I think will scare you here. Like that Vice that we've seen throughout the season, obviously a really good pick on here. The Finny going to be a lot of pressure as well, so we'll see what the Awakenings dictate as far as that. But if I'm Bozo Bunch, I'm a little bit scared of what Hungry Like Nephew can do on this Demon Deus map.
Yeah, and of course, there's always a looming threat of Juliet, right? That pick, the sample size is growing ever larger. The win rate is rising. It's not even falling, it's rising as the sample size rises. It is getting a little ridiculous here, and we're probably going to see a first pick from the Bozo Bunch, because I do not think that they're going to allow Hungry Like Nephew Bells, the Juliet guy, to get that one.
Yeah, we'll see. That pressure pick, the Finny, the Vice that I already mentioned, it makes for a really interesting one. And I think the era as well, which we've kind of seen all game in every series, it feels like, also a really strong pick in the goal box or the midfield on this map. So I'm really interested to see what our awakenings are and what kind of pressure that puts on the bands and the first pick, obviously here.
Yeah, we had a visit for a moment from
I saw that.
from a
Yeah.
certain Dubu, but looks like well, we're heading on to our next map, Demon Deus. The draft should be here shortly. I don't know, Weston. You already talked about some of the picks. Finny, of course, priority for sure. But the question is, where do these picks line up in terms of priority, right? ObscureBreads excels on the Finny, but the Juliet is such a threat, and I think Dropleto is going to be like, whoa, we need to do something about the Juliet. And on the other side, Hungry Like Nephew, of course, they're very flexible in that manner as well. But of course, I think they're a little less stressed with that win on the board.
Yeah, and it's their map pick, so I'm sure they've been planning a lot and thinking a lot. I mean, maybe they hadn't been hearing the Julie win rate discourse all day, so they weren't, prioritizing it quite as much as maybe we're starting to see. How much of it is just data noise, or the sample size is getting up there. So, it's something to really consider now. But once we have the awakenings, we'll be able to see if that Julie is really, it's a strong start where you have to ban it or pick it. But once it is banned, if you're the fact that blue side bans first, obviously, means that they put the pressure onto the other team to ban that. And then you have, the Vice, the Finny that are both, really strong picks for both teams.
Yep. Bozo, of course, on blue side for game 2 here. And, no, Weston, I'm running out of things to talk about. Do you have any ideas?
I also am running out. But that was a lot of fun in those couple miracle points that that Dropleto was able to find. It felt like they were behind in the draft, like the character draft, behind in the awakening drafts, a lot of disadvantaged positions. But he was able to find some, and so we'll see if he keeps that momentum. If they were feeling it in that game enough that that helps them in the second one. And, I'm sure it put a little bit of fear into Hungry Like Nephew how he was playing. But with new characters, we'll see how that goes, because the Zentaro, also a really strong pick right now. The fact that Dropleto has been playing it like all season is a testament to that. But we've been talking about for like 5 minutes now the Juliet as well.
Yeah, and just random chatter. I saw Zyoshi in chat, so I'm like, if we end up doing an anime opening for playoffs, I'm definitely getting that 1v3 Zentaro goalie defense in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a great inclusion.
As
Will you include the part of me saying that he looked like the best Zentaro goalie in the league? Will that be part of the clip?
well, it would be the anime opening, so it wouldn't have words.
Oh, okay. I see.
Unless you're the one singing the lyrics, and that's part of it somehow.
I'm good on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it looks like draft should be getting started here. Yep. Starting awakenings are here, and taking a look at Missile Prop Super Surge. What do you think about this one here? Missile Prop Super Surge starting awakenings doesn't really incentivize Julie, but like it doesn't disincentivize it either, really. So
Yeah, the Super Search is Yeah, that is really interesting because the Zen and the Julie both look strong here. And it's not a lot for Finny. The missile prop can help a little bit. But yeah, that is very interesting. I'm curious what Bozo Bunch ban here because I think all the pressure is on Hungry Like Nephew to potentially ban that Juliet and see what happens.
Yep. And we're just waiting for the draft to get started. We'll see. But I don't know, Weston. They're taking so long.
They're really making our jobs hard.
They are.
It
looks like
Yeah, it seemed like you need some help.
the 3C. Wait,
You guys look like you need some.
They started draft. They
value.
started draft. All good. All good. All good.
Ah, shucks.
All good.
Oh, did they lose their ban for Streak being name off? Is that what happened here?
It appears so. And that means that they'll probably... Oh, they don't first pick the Juliet. They just lock in the Zentaro at Super Surge start. Dropleto loves to pick. Sure. And that makes sense. But we're probably going to see an instant Juliet lock-in coming in from Hungry Like Nephew. And also their choice of goalie. No, it's the Vice Drakkar. They're overloading onto damage, and honestly that makes a decent chunk of sense here, given that it's missile prop start, enabling that Drakkar. But now here's the question. What are the Bozo Bunch thinking after this?
I mean, you didn't really have to pick the Juliet there because the Zentaro has been picked, unless we were going to see Julie or Zen in the goal box in some capacity. So you've really, now the threat of the Juliet is in that third pick, and I think it really means it becomes like kind of a damage arms race here of how much can Bozo Bunch do to match the Vice Drakkar Julie.
What if they pick the Julie? What if they pick the Julie here? What if they steal it away? If they don't, they pick the Era instead. But like you mentioned, that probably means the Julie is locked in here. Or it just could be a midfielder. It could be the Bells Drakkar. But the Julie is a okay, it's the Estelle. It is the Bells Drakkar. The Julie goes unpicked. And which would probably be the case in like a different meta where we weren't expecting Julie. This is not the crazy Julie map. This is not a crazy Julie start. Maybe return to expectations after expecting Juliet to appear once again. But taking a look at these two drafts, how do you think this one will play out here? I'm a little bit worried for Bozo's survivability.
Yeah, I'm worried as well. The size against, the Era being able to reduce the size, I don't think does a lot against Hungry Like Nephew's comp. I'm curious. I'm assuming this is an Era goalie. So it's going to be Amy in the midfield, and I think Era goalie is really strong on this map. Regardless of, the size isn't even the most important part. She just has good tools to set up offense and defense. So I really like that pick, but I do agree that I'm a little bit scared for the damage that Hungry Like Nephew can output here. And I wonder how much of an effect the no ban from Bozo Bunch had on that, because maybe you would have banned the Vice. Maybe you would have banned the Julie, which didn't get picked, but it maybe affected things here. And yeah, we'll see what they're able to do to try to stay alive, but it is ObscureBreads on the Era goalie here.
Yeah, taking a look into the match chat discourse, it seems that Bozo Bunch didn't expect anything. Didn't really expect what Hungry Like Nephew picked. What they would have banned was apparently not any of their characters, which is quite interesting, I gotta say. What they have banned then? Maybe the Juliet.
Yeah.
maybe
we talked about it for like 8 minutes, so you would think it is. But yeah, maybe Juno as well. But as much as we talked about the damage, it's Dropleto finding the KO early on, but Vaughn just wins every single strike war and is able to find both barriers, and not much able to be found out of this power play quite yet from Bozo Bunch.
Yeah, it's a bit of a negative power play here as Bells goes in. Streak taken relatively low as well. Got to be a little bit careful when playing up here. Once again, the dribbling plays between Bells and Streak, and the hit stun away. The strike war wins, though, from the Bozo Bunch. Somehow, a miracle, they get it out of there, but it's still only one barrier taken. Dropleto really doesn't want to use the flip here, but is forced to. They maintain possession, though, And the point is really evened up, and Vaughn is exploded to the top side. Maybe a swing for the Bozo Bunch, but it's a really volatile first point.
Yeah, and with the eject button able to get to the safety of his own goal, and Dropleto just doesn't have the speed to chase him down here as Vaughn comes in with the ultimate, forces out the flip from ObscureBreads, but the ultimate from Dropleto, the dash as well, is able to find it. So kind of a disaster early on in that point for Bozo Bunch as they lost both barriers within about 20 seconds, but they're able to bring it back around, and first point goes to them.
Yep, but we already saw the damage output being a little bit crazy from both these teams. One slip up of ObscureBreads with no meter available. That could be the difference here as drop goes in. These primaries, these slice and dices have lined up so well, but Streak taking a ton of damage. Same can be said by Yuri Lose. In both games so far, the Aeronados have been doing so much damage.
Yeah, a lot of damage there, and Yuri Lose kind of being forced out of the play, just barely finds the save as he dies right there, is able to keep the point alive, and Bells with a good dribble is able to keep it away from the pressure of Bozo Bunch, wins a strike war as well, so they're able to survive in this power play, but it just feels like the damage is adding up here on Bells.
Same can be said about onto Dropleto, barely avoids getting KO'd by the Rose Thorns, and a strike war, a casual strike war against the Supernova. Perfectly played once again by Dropleto, 2 for 2 in this game so far. And if the Bozo Bunch can win this one, I think they'll be pretty confident heading into game 3, but that is speaking way too soon. Vaughn is on the vice where he has performed so well so far this season, and Dropleto is dead, and Bells has flip, and Hungry Like Nephew, they're looking to close this one out.
Yeah, damage found on ObscureBreads as well, and might be worth just saving the flip from Streak here, but instead uses it and just barely misses the goal, being able to open up from You Already Lose, the primary from Vaughn trying to set things up, but nothing yet. Streak just being able to control this corner, win strike war after strike war, and keep the pressure on, but there's no tools to be able to find this last barrier quite yet.
Oh, Bells goes for a crazy dribbling play, but the side effect is that he gets a ton of chip damage. Dropleto, though, looking for some solo magic here, but the bounce isn't quite favorable enough. It's favorable enough to get the barrier, and Streak keeps the core alive, but Yuri Lose gets in there, while Streak doesn't have it controlled. Well interrupted by Yuri Lose. That was almost a disaster for Hungry Like Nephew, but they get it done in the end.
Yeah, and the damage is keeping them in a power play. Keeping one team in a power play for forever, it feels like. Just so much pressure and no tools for survivability for either team. You know, the energy forced out of Streak there is going to make his life very difficult here if they put some pressure on, and Vaughn looking for the abilities but not quite finding it. Streak looking to get it in the corner and keep it on offense where you can really push that damage in the corner like they are on Dropleto right here. But well-timed strikes, they're able to get it out and keep it alive, but the damage from Hungry Like Nephew is starting to build up, and Dropleto is at risk of being KO'd, and there he goes.
Dropleto down, Vaughn blinking in. The collapse from Hungry Like Nephew looking effortless right now. And the follow-ups come in. ObscureBreads with the strike wars, and Streak right through the gap and getting the strike out. Pass up to Dropleto, who dashes in with the EI rush. And once again, the Bozo Bunch, they recover, but they got to be careful. Whichever team takes control of the early damage really just starts snowballing, and Bells will catch Streak a little bit off guard there. And the Bozo Bunch are just watching the core go in. Another passing play. Hungry Like Nephew looking solid here as they just look like the better KO team.
Yeah, like we said in the draft, it looks like it was going to be difficult for Bozo Bunch. They were able to execute enough to get those first 2 points, but now you're really starting to see it as a misstrike from ObscureBreads there. Gets an early barrier. A lot of energy on Bells, and Vaughn is going to put the pressure on Bozo Bunch, and Dropleto getting that flip is maybe not a good thing as he's going to have to use it here. Is able to get the interception, find one barrier. We'll see if Streak can find the second with the firewall sentry, but well cleared by Vaughn. The strike from ObscureBreads, though, is able to get it, and it could be anyone's game here as the Maelstrom goes into the corner, not quite timed right, so it goes back to an even state where either team can find it here.
Dangerous for Dropleto. Bells collapsing, Vaughn in the corner, and there's the lock and load from Bells. It was really dangerous for Hungry Like Nephew, but Vaughn played it so patiently, got in the corner, and Bells found the final shot. Really well played here from Hug, and they're going to start scaling even harder, but there are quite a few very impactful awakenings in this particular draft.
Yeah, you see the heavy impact that really every single person in this game really wants heavy impact. So the fact that it showed up here when you or Drakkar one is going to be really helpful. Dropleto taking that Reptile Remedy is going to help him stay alive. But, you know, more cooldowns for the Vice, more damage for the Estelle is just going to, you know, keep that damage on along with the heavy impact. Dropleto was able to get some survivability, but he's not the only one being KO'd here. One thing I didn't notice when we loaded in, ObscureBreads going for the momentum boots, which I think is usually the go-to pick on Era, but on this map and against that team comp, I'm a little surprised he didn't go for the Powerhouse Pauldrons, which would be helping him stay alive. But so far early on in this point, he's not needing to, as it's a power play for Bozo Bunch.
Yeah, I think the goal is to be able to step up the mid line for as long as possible, especially in barrier advantage situations. But the Bozo Bunch, not many barrier advantage situations so far, but when they have the lead, when they have the net open, they do convert quite swiftly, as Dropleto does there. It's a 1-0 lead for now, but they got to close the set out.
Yeah, it feels like they really have to win the kickoffs hard and get the goal open because, like you said, they've been able to convert that pretty consistently. The Amy and the Zen are able to put so much pressure on the goalie, especially a goalie with not a lot of defensive tools. But when the point starts to go longer and the damage starts to add up like it is on ObscureBreads right here, it just feels like it's Hungry Like Nephew's points to lose. And they're doing all the winning so far in this one as they pass down to Vaughn, who's going to try to set up an offense, although misses the strike and the core gets away from him.
Oh, and a great strike war by Streak as well. Gets past Bells, who was incredibly low. Potentially a KO target, but instead they're just playing offense around the Drakkar. It looks like Streak's got to be careful, though. If you find yourself a little bit too close to the edge, you can go down. A creative angle by Drop. Almost gets a good rebound, but not quite. And ObscureBreads, of course, has got to watch his health as well. Follow up by Dropleto. You already lose, taken low, almost KO'd, and the barrier is falling. This is the win condition for the Bozo Bunch. A glitch pop to the top side, a bewitching beam to send it forward, but not quite enough. Now, the core speed, Streak's follow-up is good, and the Bozo Bunch, they need more of that, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, and the damage specifically on You Already Lose that point was able to force him out of the offense for pretty much the entire time, just having to, you know, hold hands with Vaughn in the net and try to defend, but eventually there's enough confirms to bring it down. But completely different story this point early on, as Bells is able to find a KO with those pummelers early on. You Already Lose able to get the prize fighter stack that he lost last point back as well, so it's going to be a lot of pressure, but no barriers found yet off of that power play.
Not yet. Bells with the dribble, looking for the barrier. Good strikes by the Bozo Bunch, as Vaughn as well looking for a dribble. Good evade against the Oni's blade, but a glitch pop from Streak is perfect coverage. The passing play right through Bells and Vaughn, and Streak goes in for the shot. It's a set win. It's clean from the Bozo Bunch. They found their passing lane so reliably there, and of course, once they have the barrier advantage, they have a comp that can convert.
Yeah, and when they put the damage pressure on You Already Lose, it felt like him and Vaughn were maybe, you know, stepping on each other's toes just a little bit, like both trying to do the same things on defense, and it kind of just fell apart for them. And 3 points in a row, they were able to get those barriers open and score very quickly. The conversion, like we talked about, was so strong for them. And Streak now with the specialized training and the extra special is going to put so much pressure on that defense. Just the damage as well, going to force out those evades and hopefully for them be able to find those barriers as well. The Monumentalists with those NATOs coming in, it's just going to be a lot of creations that put the pressure on the net here. You Already Lose with that Among Titans is maybe going to be able to get away from some of that pressure, but I really like the creations scaling that Bozo Bunch was able to get here to start to put the pressure even more on that defense.
But one thing hasn't changed, right? It's the damage coming in. Streak taken out by the shotgun. ObscureBreads stunned away. One barrier down, almost two, as Dropleto looks for some hit stun to help out. It goes around the world, and You Already Lose a good follow-up. Will secure the second barrier, and these situations are so advantageous for Hungry Like Nephew. It feels impossible for the Bozo Bunch to even get a foothold if it's a 2 barriers to none situation, but the same can be said about both teams. Bells with a double KO, the lock and load, catches 2, and ObscureBreads also gone as well. Gets a return kill with the NATO, which was pretty funny, and that does make the energy situation a tiny bit better for Bozo, but what a spectacular point from Hungry Like Nephew.
Yeah, and it wasn't on the member with Prize Fighter, unfortunately, either, so not much pressure being put on. But if Bozo Bunch can win the kickoffs as hard as they just did there, you know, we talked about all last set, they're able to convert pretty consistently with all the stuns and now the creations that they have, but they were only able to get one, not open the goal quite yet as they dash in and try to find it, but ObscureBreads, oh no, being pushed out onto the side. Bell's getting that 1-2 punch, or sorry, Vaughn has the 1-2 punch. But that is just so much damage pressure onto Breads, who's going to be tossed around, pulled out of the goal net, and it's Streak who's going to have to try to play defense here.
Not going to be easy. They do have a flip, but they would rather use that for offense here. Dropleto as well. A lot of risky EI rushes near the edge. Could get punished by any number of cooldowns, but they do open up the net. That opens up the map. That opens up the entire game for the Bozo Bunch, really. The gameplay changes completely like that. Streak with the interrupt on the pass on the enemy half. Has plenty of range to do so, and it's evened up.
Yeah, just nothing left for Vaughn to save it there. He was able to get the orb right at the end for the extra energy, but nothing going there. And, you know, Streak, we'll see how he uses these turrets, if it's consistently for damage, if it's consistently to pressure on the barrier. It looks to be, you know, more zoning and damage that time, but it's not able to find much. And Vaughn, with a great setup, is able to find that first barrier and force it into these corners where that lock and load, that pressure from Bells is going to be so scary. But the core gets away. Dropleto trying to find the KO, trying to find that second barrier, but it's his teammate Streak who ends up going down. And the missed clear there as Vaughn finds his way in, is able to get that second barrier open.
You already lose with the follow-up, not quite getting the goal itself. Dropleto helping out as well on the defensive strike wars, one in the midfield. As ObscureBreads going up to the top side. Dropleto looking for the barrier, but Vaughn is just too solid here. Bells now, and then you already lose with the follow-up. It's like there's two long-range Estelle Crystal Thorns available. And well played by Hungry Like Nephew to convert there, but you got to look at the meter in these situations, and Bells and Vaughn are looking poised to close this one out.
And ObscureBreads has absolutely no energy, so has to eat that entire Vice ultimate, being pushed away from the goal once again by Bells here, although the Firewall Sentry is able to save it. That time, the flip forced out from Vaughn and not finding much. One Strike Wars by Dropleto is putting the pressure back on, and the flip as well. They're just keeping the core in there, and they're not able to go and confirm this kill against ObscureBreads, and now it's You Already Lose who ends up going down.
There's no way from the brink of a sweep in the point to very much in the advantage are the Bozo Bunch. All it takes is one play, and Dropleto's there with the Firewall Sentry from Streak. What a hold by ObscureBreads. What survival by ObscureBreads, and Bells had the flip on the barrier, but lost to the Firewall Sentry earlier.
And both of these forward duos have so much hit stun, so much range, that whichever team has the goal open, it's so much pressure on that goalie to try to clear against, you know, like you said, like two Crystal Thorns, you know, the Amy jump, the Vice, all of this coming in. And it's Bozo Bunch who opened the goal up early as Streak almost dies in the corner, but is able to stay alive. We'll see if this Maelstrom can find any value. Not quite, and You Already Lose almost KO'd in the corner. But for now, Hungry Like Nephew is holding on.
Dropleto low as well. Vaughn getting in there with the Strike Wars. A piercing shot. Not quite enough here, but the Firewall Sentry comes in. Dropleto trying to be the hero, but instead it's Bells around the world. You already lose, collapsing as well. The NATO a little bit, but Bells has a follow-up strike. An impossible defense for ObscureBreads, but he was close.
He was somehow close, like you said, completely impossible, with Vaughn coming in there, a perfectly timed ultimate, and just putting so much pressure on the evades the entire set. A great play to take that set home, and it's going to get them some more damage here. A lot of different options. You see Deadeye there, which the Amy is really going to potentially want, unless they go for survivability. The Vice is going to take it instead, but there's a lot of speed in here to try to survive. Really interesting that Bells goes for the cast to last as a deny there. Yeah, a lot of speed in here. The Stinger going to Dropleto to try to, you know, fight back and find some KOs for Bozo Bunch. But it's an interesting draft all around, and ObscureBreads with that Orb Replicator is going to try to get some energy onto his teammates to try to stay alive.
Yeah. Oh, but ObscureBreads has been greedy with energy a little bit this entire game, it feels like, and gets punished there. Dropleto, though, keeping up the offense, trying to make sure that Hungry Like Nephew can't get too much, but they do get both barriers, and they're looking for a Strike War win to close this one out. The defense is there from the Bozo Bunch, but not much else, and that draft confused me a little. I thought that Dropleto would do better with the Fight or Flight and Streak with the Stinger instead, because Drop has Twin Drive, right? The double refresh potentially, and of course more mobility on the Playmaker. But, you know, they're making plays nonetheless. The Firewall Sentry into the EI Rush. We've seen that so many times before, and they build up a lot of meter while doing it as well.
Yeah, and just on the note of what you just said about the fight or flight as well, Dropleto has been the one that feels like who has been taking the brunt of the damage more other than Breads. So, you know, if he gets staggered, he'd get both of those back. But instead, they put it on Streak, and that first point they were able to find. And it's them putting the damage onto Bells here and the KO as well. Dropleto able to find it with the stun here, and we'll see if he uses the flip to get the barrier. He does, able to find the timing through that Vice ultimate, and we'll see if they can convert before Bells is back and starts putting the pressure on. They're close to a flip on both Breads and Streak, but nothing yet. But the Firewall Sentry is able to stun Vaughn. He's not able to get down in time, and it's a quick 2-0 for Bozo Bunch.
That was such a good play, too. Dropleto went for the orb, kind of, but immediately, just a fake out, rushes forward, and Streak is already there together in the play. Very well coordinated, and kind of baited Bells a little bit. One tick that goes down, though. They got to flip it away, but Bells perfectly stuffed out, and it's a dominant opening to the point from Hungry Like Nephew here. It's going to be hard to fall behind once you're this up, but Vaughn going down might just be the one thing that the Bozo Bunch could have needed, really.
Teleported right into the path of the Maelstrom, and now Streak's trying to set up the confirm, trying to maybe find the KO on You Already Lose. If they can get it in this Firewall Sentry, that could be a confirm, but they're not able to do it as You Already Lose dashes ahead. Vaughn back online as well to play defense, but he clears into the path of Dropleto, and that's Twin Drive. That Super Surge puts so much pressure on, and that's a quick 3-0 for Bozo Bunch.
It's all off the back of that NATO KO onto Vaughn, just opening up a road for them. And heading into this draft, there are some scary awakenings staring us right in the face. My eyes are on that bulk up, but the explosive entrance also has so much presence. I don't like that bulk up was given over like that. I'm scared. Vaughn is going to do so much damage.
Yeah, and Vaughn was, you know, ready to pick that one as quickly as possible. Instead, you know, the Spark denies going over to the side of Bozo Bunch here. You know, a little bit of value for yourself. I guess didn't want that explosive entrance and Super Surge, you know, the double dash range, but that would have been a lot of damage for Streak. But yeah, I agree that the bulk up not going to them and instead going to Vaughn is going to be really scary here. Dropleto has the adrenaline rush, which really in a KO game like this, can be that trump card against everything else. But so far, not able to find anything yet, although Bells does get staggered, but drops back to find the orb. And Dropleto in a very difficult spot here with a lot of damage being found on him.
Doesn't get KO'd, though. Somehow stays alive despite all the pressure. Somehow gets unstaggered, and now if they can find a KO, they're the ones in control here. The Bozo Bunch are playing such a risky game, but Hungry Like Nephew are the ones in risky situations as well. Bell's low, but the barrier one tick taken. But that's ObscureBreads going down. That could be disaster for the Bozo Bunch. Their defense looking shaky. The strike war is being won for the moment. To the top side it goes, and the barrier still stands. The respawn's going to come in now, and Dropleto finds a dribble around. You Already Lose wins the strike war, and what a shot by You Already Lose, despite the KO coming through. He gets it done, and Hungry Like Nephew once again are up in the final set.
Yeah, even though they couldn't exactly confirm that barrier, the fact that they were able to make Dropleto play defense and not confirm the kill on Bells for so long there, as he couldn't get that adrenaline rush, would have been his, first of the point, first of the set, and can really snowball things, but wasn't able to find it. A lot of damage being found out of Bells and Vaughn here, so we'll see if Dropleto can confirm those kills, but every time he has to drop back and play defense, it's more time that they get to try to stay alive, and unfortunately try to find it. They find the last barrier, but he does get it. He has that adrenaline rush up now. A great clear from ObscureBreads is able to keep the point alive.
But they need to get this barrier right now. You Already Lose has the flip. That's such a huge threat for the Bozo Bunch. They don't get the set piece. The setup is not quite there. The barrier taken. Streak needs to find something now. An awkward flip. Dropleto tries to read the play, and ObscureBreads so fast trying to run forward. There's the KO. Dropleto's in there with the Oni's blade, but this defense is so scary. Vaughn has the passing play, so much power, so much core speed, and Bell's in position. They clear it right through Bells. Dropleto finds a dribbling play. They get it away for now. And all it takes is one cyber swipe, one big play here. But the Supernova says no to all of that. And Bells with the core speed. Vaughn getting in there. Has a flip available. Staying up forever. Vaughn's all in. He's all in. He didn't eject back and it pays off. Yuri Luz gets the goal and Vaughn keeps the flip.
The core speed, the hot shot, and the 2 stacks of prize fighter from Yuri Luz getting it around everyone. Just a barely an angle that sent it into the goal behind everyone. It's like you said, Vaughn was completely in. They just needed to get the core past, and they have a lot of energy here to try to fight back, but some of it used there when the barrier was already taken. Gonna be a problem. And now Streak getting taken down is also gonna be a problem on the back foot for Bozo Bunch. The core just goes all the way around, just like last point. And the same story as last game. Bozo Bunch with some heroics are able to take it to a set 5, but it's Hungry Like Nephew who end up taking it home in dominant fashion in this last set.
It's so close. Bozo Bunch, they're so good in that set 4. They get it done till set 5 arrives, but Hungry Like Nephew, the veterans, they look so solid in those set 5 situations. They do not waver. They might get randomly KO'd throughout the game, but the moment set 5 hits, it's over. And they played it so well. Yuri Luz in particular just turned it up another notch in that set 5 and got it done.
Yeah, and these redirect numbers, considering it was a 22-minute game, are just, it feels like so low across the board with how many KOs there were and how much focus was on, confirming those. No one really touching the core that much, but it was 16 KOs for Hungry Like Nephew that was able to do it, and in those last couple points, just being found time and time again. Dropleto, much like the last game, was able to find a lot of heroic plays, led in redirects here. But Vaughn holding it down, setting up offense, setting up defense was a little bit too much. And yeah, like you said, in set 5 in both games, really, they just looked like the more confident, the more calm and collected team. They took it home both times.
Yep. Well played, Hungry Like Nephew. They now advance to a NASL leading record tied with Showtime, 3-1. Which is very good. A very, very good spot to be in. There are so many teams at 2-2 right now. And that is going to be a mess as playoffs slowly approaches. We're almost at the halfway point of the season. And really nothing has shaken up at all, right? Like, we still have no idea who's going to be in playoffs. Usually by this time of the season, we're like, these teams are pretty much locked. But that's not the case.
Yeah, we might know less than we knew at the very start of the season. I would say we probably do, because last week everyone was 2-1 or 1-2. This week a few teams fall below, a few teams go above, but there's still that huge pack of 2-2 teams right in the middle of the league, 6 of them. So yeah, we'll see how they rate themselves in the next few weeks. But as we're halfway, like you said, just it's anyone's league, it's anyone's game here.
Yep. Well, the one thing I do kind of feel like is somewhat taking shape in my mind is who I'm going to be voting on the All-Pro ballot. Because we've seen some stellar performances through these 4 weeks. A certain brawler, a certain goalie. We've talked about it before. And yeah, other than that, we're going to head to the post show in just a bit where we talk to some of the winners from today. So don't go anywhere, and we'll see you very, very soon. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the post show for NASL Season 6, Week 4. We're here with 3 of the winners from today, Muffin, Threezy, and Vaughn, as it's a day full of 2-0s. Return to form 2-0 over Demons Raw, and 2-0 Dubu PPL, 2-0 Hug Bozo. So, starting with you, Muffin. Well, number one, how do you do it? How do you win the wheel spin?
I spun it twice. I lost both times.
Well,
So sad.
it happens. But speaking of, it was 2-0 over Demons Raw. Return to form, looking very solid. I guess. What are your thoughts on how the season has gone so far? Because you face like a pretty wide variety of teams.
Before the season started, I thought it was gonna go a little bit better than how it's been going. But overall, I think it's actually been getting better, way better over time, especially with the weeks full of scrims and the teams we've been going against. Been very fun and unique in different ways.
And I guess taking a look at your match against Demons Raw, I guess How'd you go into it thinking of that matchup?
I didn't think it was going to be too bad. I think we were just with the map pool. We were just kind of hoping it wouldn't go too terribly. And seeing Amy's app, it was like, eh. It seemed went by.
All right. Well, 3Z, Nindubi Strikers versus PPL. It was close in the second game, but you managed to get it done. 10+0 score line on the Brawler. I guess how did it feel after that win?
Something. Juliet is weak. Something. Not all brawlers. Juliet. No, I mean this week we were locked in. Josh couldn't make it. So Box Guard stepped up. WCOM Dubu Strikers, getting it done. Yeah, we just had really sufficient prep this week. It felt nice. Felt like we had a game plan. We executed it. Game 2, we had to be resilient like Jerry. That happens. PBO had a good adaptation to us in the draft. They played better in the second game, which made it harder for us. But we had to adapt again mid-game, and we did so, and that's why we won.
Yeah, and expanding on some Juliet thoughts, I guess. It might be a low sample size, but it is getting ever larger, and the win rate is staying stable. Any words on the pick?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I told my Dubu compadre, my EU fellow sloth earlier today. I said, character's good with core control. It's good with damage. Therefore, it's the best brawler. It has 110 power. It scales insanely with like every awakening besides predation. Yeah, I think Juliet's just incredibly strong right now, and I think she's not pick ban, but the team should definitely have a priority on the character.
All right, and Vaughn, a bit of a action-packed final series here against the Bozo Bunch. But as back and forth as it was in those set fives, it was all hungry like nephew. How do you keep your composure?
I think the biggest struggle that we've been learning since doing this role swap is trying to reshape how the three of us interact in game with one another. I think we have we're the longest standing team that's never split. We've been doing this since like May 2023, right? Give or take. So there's certain sets where you see us look like absolute dogs. Like let's keep it a buck. Like there's about one set, sometimes every game, sometimes a series, but like there's a set or a point where we just look terrible. So there's a lot of times like I would say like set 3, I think every time we went up 2-0 and then we lost set 3 and then we lost set 4 and then we won set 5. I felt like that every time, even if it wasn't the case. And every time around like set 3 or 4 when we started to lose, we would just say like, hey, let's make this adjustment. Like game 1, we were doing great and then we were on the back foot and then Bells just went, let's just not play any more defense. And so then we just played like extremely giga aggro, or like game 2, it felt like we were dying early. And then, I most helpful calm, by the way. I just said, hey, Caleb, if you can figure out how to live, we're golden. And then he smurfed. And let's be clear, like set 5 of that last game, that was the Caleb show on Estelle. Like he got it done. So I think it's just the fact that, I think everyone is willing to be flexible in how they're approaching the game, and they're receptive to, especially me, kind of sometimes being like, hey, like I think we should do this now, like go do it, or I want you to do this now. So I think that is a big reason why we were able to tough it out, and we've been in set 5 so many times. So that's probably how I would summarize that upside.
Mm-hmm. And I guess taking a look back at how this game went, what are your thoughts on Night Market as a map? Because the Hungry Like Nephew did feel pretty prepared for that map, and especially how you played on the defense. It's a classic map, of course, but it is making a return after a bit of an absence.
Yeah, so if anyone is friends with me, they know that it's my actually the most hated competitive map as a midfielder. I think I want to blow my brains out playing night market as a midfielder. Goalie, you get to do whatever you want. You can pick any character in the game. You can like do a Gumi impression and just run around with your head cut off. Like the map is super chill. We had never played it before though as 3 because we've scrimmed once and it was versus our subs and we didn't win a single game for 2 hours. So we only played the maps in that map pool. But I knew that Ali or Bells is so good at night market at taking up space that like Caleb and I would just figure it out if we went to night market. And I was really excited to pick the Juno because way back like 2 years ago when I first started learning Juno goalie, it was because I would pick it on that map on the off rollers. So it was good. I think we can obviously improve at it. Bozo was really resilient. Breads, Streak, and Drop are all beasts. But obviously we got it done, and I think Juno goalie is really good. I think she's really OP. Zax Mac was on to something week 1, so I'm gonna keep picking that character.
All right, and with that, we'll just go to shout-outs. They're easy. You got any shout-outs before we close?
I got hella shout outs.
Hella.
First, shout out to the warm uppers. The Fool, the Fool, Samuel Zoro Zychinsky, Eternal Arctic, and Jeffrey. W fellas. Shout out to my teammates. Fox stepped in this week. Shape shifting as well. We had some good scrims this week. We don't talk about our Monday scrim, but we do talk about our Tuesday scrim.
Jesus.
Thanks to all the team. Yeah, Vaughn knows the lore. Shout out to all the teams that scrimmed us. Bozo, RTF, and we don't talk about the Monday scrim, so I forget who scrimmed. Let's see. Oh yeah, shout out to the Bells and Gumi, Breezy, Juliet. Shout out to everybody that picked Ricard today, even though Snake lost. Shout out to the Texas Blast. Shout out to Liari who picked Luna today. That was awesome, even though she lost on pick. W Luna representation. Shout out to Dropleto. That guy played like a beast today, even though he lost. Classic Dropleto loss into amazing performance. Unfortunate. Where my hug at?
Facts.
All right, well, you covered like a good third of the entire community. I'm down. A Muffin. Anyone you want to shout out?
My team and my W coach Hook resets telling me what to change up and make you to pass for warming us up, and Sudubu yesterday scrimming us, I think.
This bastard. All he does is Rasmus primary hook me.
Babo Flush.
Oh.
All right, Vaughn. Any final shout outs?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out Cardbox, Wallaby Gangsta, Carmine, and Ratman Rob, and Cardinal 29, because these people will send me these like really nice messages, win or lose. Oh, and also Streak actually, and also Dropleto. I forgot about those guys too. Okay, those guys send me really nice messages like before games, after games. And it's really cool because I like the positivity that I feel like is surrounding the league in general, at least for me. Like I've had a really pleasant experience interacting with the new teams that have formed, old teams that have looked different, and like players around the scene. So I'll take the second third of the community off of 3Z's shoulders. So I wanted to shout out those people and anyone else who's been really supportive. It's been really cool. Like it's been fun. Like it's a really good time. And otherwise, I just want to shout out my ref Potat because it was his first time ever reffing today, and I thought he did fantastic. So shout out to all the refs because it is a thankless job. Like
That's true.
Yeah. So obviously, it's always a shout out to Bestie and Slot, but I want to specifically shout out the ref army that we slowly have been developing. It's really cool that people are like stepping up to just like give their time to something that they don't really get anything out of. So that's really cool. Like obviously, just other than the satisfaction of the day. So those are my shout outs, and shout out Drakkar. I think our team is cool and we pick a lot of different stuff. I feel like you never know what we'll pick on the day, so stay tuned because we got more stuff cooking.
All right,
Where
with
my
that,
hug at?
thank you once again for watching and playing and anythinging. Another week of the North American Strikers League. It's been week 4. Next week will be week 5, and tomorrow, hopefully, will be the supercut of NASA and Nasty. So thanks for watching, everyone, and have a good night. Oh, wait.
Exclamation point shop!
Exclamation point
Yes!
shop!
Exclamation point shop! Showtime Mako! Yummy! Okay, bye.
Sure.